Diving to the bottom, divers can find not only interesting species of fish, corals, or sunken ships. Sometimes on the seabed they come across mysterious circles, an unknown car graveyard, creepy statues, and even a legendary sword. And in this episode, I'll show you these and other strangest and most frightening things found by divers that are impossible to believe. Everyone knows about the crop circles that, according to the legend, are left by aliens. Such circles can be found on vacant lots or even on lawns near large estates. But there are also unusual and mysterious circles underwater. For the first time, such circles caught the eyes of divers at the end of the last century. The find frightened divers and puzzled scientists. For a long time, they'd puzzled over who or what could have left such outlines on the seabed. Could it be the work of aliens again? Actually, no. Scientists found the answer in 2011. Then divers again dived to the bottom off the coast of Japan and noticed a male pufferfish swimming near the bottom, moving its fins. Behind it, there was a groove which formed a circle. As it turned out, male pufferfish draw these circles underwater to indicate a place for reproduction. When the male finishes drawing a circle, female pufferfish swim to it. If they're satisfied with what they see, they lay their eggs in the center and swim away. Cars. For some time in the American city of Portland, there was a legend that a submerged car lies in the local river. Divers decided to check the legend and make a dive. However, instead of a sunken 20-year-old pickup truck, they found several unique cars of the last century. Among the unusual finds, divers found Mazda RX-7 red at the bottom of the river. It's not known exactly how long this Japanese car was underwater, but if we consider that the found wrestling model began to be produced in 1981, we can assume that Mazda could lie at the bottom for about 40 years. In addition, divers were able to retrieve a collection of other rare vehicles from the river, including a 1973 Ford Mustang Mach 1, as well as 3 pickup trucks, including Chevrolet Love, that very 20-year-old pickup truck. All the cars found were in terrible condition and not to be restored. It's still unknown where the car graveyard in the river came from, but it's believed that the cars found in the bottom were sunk by car thieves or insurance crooks. Slender Man. Have you noticed that Slender Man, the character of urban legends and horror movies, has disappeared somewhere? About 8 to 10 years ago, he was talked about in almost every internet community, and in 2018 they even made a movie about the slim and tall villain. But after that, the hype around Slender Man died down, and the character stopped appearing in the creepypastas. Perhaps the thing is that he decided to find his refuge in the Thai waters. It was there at the bottom of the sea, off the coast of the island of Koh Tao, divers came across this statue, which by its shape resembles a well-known villain. It looks quite unusual and even creepy. What else is frightening is the fact that the island of Koh Tao is called the Death Island. But don't be frightened. In fact, this statue has nothing in common with Slender Man, except that it looks like this internet character. As it turns out, the statue's been in the water since 2016. The female artist who created it said that with her work, she wanted to remind people of the fragility of man and nature. Apparently, the artist did not cope with the task completely, because in general, the statue rather reminds people of the creepypasta, which they read a few years ago. In fact, it's not uncommon to find all sorts of sculptures on the seafloor. However, they don't always stand proudly alone like this fragile figure of Slender Man. Stay tuned to find out where you can come across such an unusual sight, as well as to see other strange and frightening things found by divers. Sculptures. Imagine you go down to the seabed off the coast of a warm country to admire the underwater fauna and flora, but instead you find a bunch of creepy and strange sculptures that literally dot the entire bottom. You see people standing in a circle holding hands, a writer, crowds of people, a man lying on the hood of a car, and more. It seems as if these are living people who have hardened and been dumped on the bottom. Not surprisingly, many divers are frightened when they see such a sight, but in fact there's nothing scary about it. This picture can be seen off the coast of Grenada in the Caribbean. That's where the Underwater Sculpture Park is located, under the water. It's a project of the English sculptor and eco-activist Jason Taylor. The first sculptures were put down in 2006, and since then the collection have been gradually replenished. The sculptures are located on an area of 800 square meters at a small distance from each other at a depth of about 3 meters. According to Jason, he didn't want to scare anyone with the strange sculptures. As the British says, the sculptures are artificial reefs and are important for balancing the local marine environment and restoring the wildlife ecosystem. Now picture this. You decide to go scuba diving in the Black Sea. You've never done it before, so it's hard for you to get used to being underwater. Soon you're getting better and better, beginning to see the outlines of underwater objects, and suddenly you bump into the alien. Not the most pleasant first diving experience, is it? That's the experience encountered by many divers who have made a dive off the coast of the city of Anapa, Russia. Because there, underwater, you can come across the statue of the alien. The statue of this monster was installed in 2018. The statue is made of car parts and is an unusual landmark which is designed to amuse divers. Excalibur. According to legend, Excalibur belonged to the legendary King Arthur, who obtained it with the assistance of the wizard Merlin. After Arthur's last battle, when the king felt he was dying, he asked the last surviving Knights of the Round Table to throw the sword into the nearest body of water to return it to the Lady of the Lake. This is just a legend, but it seems that its veracity has recently been confirmed, as Excalibur has been found in an unexpected place. In 2019, divers found a sword similar to Excalibur at the bottom of the Verbis River in Bosnia. As in the legend, the sword was stuck in a stone, was found at a depth of 11 meters, and was similar to the description of the sword from the legend. Interestingly, next to the river are the ruins of an ancient castle of knights. Everything points to the fact that this is the very sword of King Arthur. But unfortunately, it's not. Yes, there is a coincidence with the legend, but there are also inconsistencies. According to historians, analysis of the blade showed that this sword was used from the end of the 12th century to the first half of the 15th century, while King Arthur, according to legend, ruled in the 5th to 6th centuries. In any case, the find is very interesting because over the past 100 years in the Balkans have only been found 2 similar swords. Glowing tube. When diving on the seafloor, you expect to see a lot of unusual things, but you hardly expect to see a strange glowing tube several meters long, which wriggles. Such a frightening find was stumbled upon by diver Jay Wink, who was exploring the seabed off the coast of Australia in 2017. The find frightened the diver, but he soon recognized it as a living creature called a sea pyrosome. The pyrosome does resemble a tube and boasts a large length because it's not a simple organism, but something consisting of thousands of zooid organisms. When night falls, the pyrosome begins to emit bright light. Despite the fact that at the first meeting this creature can scare any diver, there's nothing dangerous about it. Pyrosome is a harmless creature which, in addition, performs a lot of useful things in the ocean. Pyrosomes clean the water, and scientists believe that the bioluminescent properties of pyrosomes will allow them to find a cure for many human diseases. Rivers can be found in the jungle, in the mountains, on the plains, and this is not surprising. What is surprising is that rivers can sometimes be found right underwater. One of the most unusual underwater rivers in the world became famous a few years ago thanks to the efforts of divers. It's located in southeastern Mexico in the Yucatan Peninsula. Technically, it's not really a river but a cenote. Cenote Angelita is a cave with a base that collapsed many years ago, trapping salty seawaters and fresh rainwater. The different density of fresh and salt water gives the impression of a river flowing under the water in the grotto. Hence the unofficial name, Underwater River. Would you like to dive there? It would be strange for a diver to stumble upon an entire forest underwater, wouldn't it? After all, forests grow on the surface of the earth. Nevertheless, there are some amazing places on the planet where this is possible. One of them is Brazil. In early 2019, this South American country faced serious downpours and flooding. The situation was so bad that the 2 rivers, Rio de Prata and Ojo de Agua, overflowed their banks, causing flooding in the surrounding areas. Some of the local rainforests were submerged. Divers can now explore the underwater forest and admire its beauty. That's all, guys. What's the most unusual thing you found underwater? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you later.